Slowik and Jerrod Johnson returning, and C.J. Stroud in year 2. And with everything they have at their disposal in terms of resources, Clint, guys coming back potentially that you think could take steps, younger guys, and then they have the third most in cap space. They still have draft capital, first, second-round picks. So they'll have the ability to improve their team in certain ways. The Texans finished 12th in total offense, which is yards, and then they finished 13th when it comes to points per game. For me, Clint, now you tell me, and sometimes you're a little bit more level-headed than me, and as I jump out. But when I look at this and I see what they potentially could have set up in front of them, like for me, my expectation is this team, to me, should be a top 5 offense, and I have the expectations they're top 5 in scoring next year. That is where I am, because I think they have everything in place, and they should have the ability with the resources they have to add to be able to get in that conversation. The top 5 offenses in yards last year in order: Miami, San Francisco, Detroit, Buffalo, Dallas. As I said, the Texans were 12th. The top 5 in points per game: Dallas, Miami, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Detroit. Texans 13th there. Is that a fair expectation right now with this team, you think?
Yeah, I think it's very fair. I mean, you're talking about 40 yards per game and 5 points per game. You go get a run game. You go get the quarterback that's already a hell of a cook. You go get him a couple of more weapons. You give this offensive line, whether they add the pieces that I think they need to add or even change the mentality in that room the way I think they need to change. Either way, you get a better running back and a more dominant top-of-the-line Tier 1 running back there. The running game is going to get better. So is it fair to think that in year 2, Bobby Slowik and C.J. Stroud with additional weapons and everybody that was here another year in this system can go get 40 more yards a game and 5 points per game? Absolutely.
Because the thought would be, Clint, and you know this as well as anybody, I would assume, like the 2 big years for you, especially at Arkansas in college, right? The first year, I'm guessing when Houston Nutt took over, you ran a different offense than you did with Danny Ford.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
And then you had the same offense your senior year, I'm assuming. I would imagine your comfort, you, Anthony Lucas, the line, the comfort from year 1 in the system to year 2, I would assume like it was just now there's no thinking. We all know, and now it's even get to a point where I'm not saying they're going to have like, you know, what we see with Kelsey and
Right.
You know, and Mahomes, but an understanding of like, hey, man, we know exactly what we're doing here. Now it's, hey, some things that between maybe me and Nico, you know, and Stroud and Nico and Stroud and Tank that we saw a little bit of just knowing in your head what to do here. Like to me, the next year in the same system, same voices. To me, I expect a big jump from that offense. And anyway,
well, I mean, we didn't make a big jump. My experience, because I lost 4 of my 5 offensive linemen that year, so college is a little bit different. But
but your comfort with everything,
you're coaching, installing, game planning, scheming, and your quarterback, regardless of what's going on around him, and definitely in the league because they ain't losing nobody. They're going to upgrade and be better around the quarterback. They're coaching, installing, game planning, scheming, quarterbacking, and executing at on a whole nother level, right? Like I'll argue that you know, one of the things Bobby Slowik did early on, and hell, he all but said it. He said, you know, that Baltimore game taught him that he was trying to start coaching and start the season at level 501 when he really needed to be in football 101, offensive football 101. So he had to go way back and start over and simplify some things and start from the ground up and build. Right. I mean, you pick up right where you left off in terms of you started in football 101. Let's say he shifted that gear week 2, but by the time you lost a playoff game, you were moving on up the charts, and they should be able to, with all these guys returning, they should be able to pick up right where they left off. And like I said, I wouldn't bet on it right now. Right?
Yeah, you want to see the pieces, but
I'll be honest with you, where I'm at right now. I would if Tyler walked in and said right now, you got to bet on the Texans right now.
Hey, man, you got to bet on the Texans right now.
I would say the Texans are going to be worse offensively than they were last year. They're going to be 12.
Clint. Really?
But let me finish it.
I need to.
And I would say that it's more likely the Texans backslide and fall out of the playoffs next year versus stay in the playoff, win the division. Because the known right now is the schedule gets significantly more difficult.
Yeah, the schedule piece.
Now, I got to see who these guys bring in. If there's not answers at the wide receiver position, if there's not a big-time running back signed, and this is wide receiver running back by committee, there's not many changes offensively, then I think they're going to backslide.
Well, if there aren't many changes offensively, that's unacceptable.
No, I agree.
As I said, with the resources.
Oh, I know, but the point is, though, Ron, is you know where Nick came from, and you know, look with the exception of San Francisco finally going and getting Christian McCaffrey, now all of a sudden Miami's going, well, should we go get Derrick Henry? Should we go get one of these big time running backs? Like it's not crazy for the guys that are in this system to go, well, we'll go running back by committee. Like that ain't gonna turn me on. That is not gonna turn me on one bit.
You think, Tyler, top 5 offense is aggressive?
Maybe a hair.
Really?
Maybe.
40 yards, 5 points.
And maybe I am being too confident in what they're going to add. I look at what they have and understanding what year 2, and we've heard a lot. We've heard it during the time that Kubiak was here, and we've heard Wade talk about it. Year 2 in the system for everybody jumps up. And I just, you're right. Maybe I need to step back on the Nick thing because in my deal of they're gonna go get a weapon. Like to me, I would believe they're going to add at least 2 weapons, maybe 1 weapon that is more of a developmental weapon, like in the draft. And then I think they're going to get a weapon, whether it's a running back, a tight end, or something that significantly adds to this, to where you would say if we had this year's big 3 was, Nico, Tank, and Singletary or Schultz. They're going to add a piece that would immediately jump into that 3, and they're just assuming that with the resources.
Ron, I'm gonna say this: you got wide receiver.
Maybe I'm being too.
You got wide receiver, tight end, running back, and then I'll couch these in the same interior offensive lineman, guard, center. Like all 4 of those spots have to be addressed this offseason, right? 2 of them, in my opinion, 2 of those 4 have to be addressed with aggressive moves, like maybe not Jerry Jones, we're going all in, we're not planning for the future type move, but moves where you're like, all right, we're ready to make a run. Like 2 of the 4, I don't care where they are, but 2 of those 4 have to be statement types of moves.
Yeah, in my head, I'm thinking you can go get Hunter Henry at tight end, you can go get Saquon Barkley, and I think you can go get a guard. And I haven't even got to the draft yet.
You would be well on your way to convincing me that I believe that they're going to be a top 5
because
offense
all those things that I named are not high price items. Like high price items in terms of
that wreck your plan.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
None of those guys are high price. And I think those would all be obviously significant jumps on this team. And they could do that. And I haven't gotten to the draft yet.